Integrated 3 students. We are in the last few weeks of this course. I have 2 things planned, okay? One, we're gonna have a project to close things out. Should be really fun. That's what I'm gonna be talking about today, is the Tessellations project that we're about to get into. What is a tessellation? And hopefully you have a lot of fun with it. I think today's lesson should get you inspired, at least I hope so. But then we're also going to be doing a little bit of statistics as well. So let's go ahead and talk about tessellation. Super excited. Let's get into it. All right. So what is a tessellation? Let's look that up. What a tessellation is, it's basically just a pattern or a sequence of patterns. There's a lot of famous ones that exist. In our MC Escher is a famous tessellation artist. So we're going to try to create a tessellation. That's going to be the goal for your project, is to make an artistic approach to these tessellations. Look at that. There's some bugs there. Okay. So in this lesson, we're just going to go over the basics of a tessellation, what it is, and then hopefully you get inspired, especially students who aren't as excited usually about math. Maybe you can find some inspiration within this and make something awesome. We are going to be using GeoGebra to help us out with this. So you are going to need GeoGebra up for this. All right. Now there are going to be a lot of steps in this video onto how to make a tessellation. We are going to begin with the first, the most essential concepts, which are transformations of translations and rotations. Now those are concepts that you would have learned in IMath 1 and possibly talked about it in IMath 2. We did it a little bit this year with just functions. Okay, I'm trying to music where I want it. There we go. So we did it with functions. We translated functions around, but now we're really going to get to graphing. So let's start with the idea of how to let's talk about how we're going to do a translation. Okay, translation. So that's what we're starting with, is a translation. So what I would like you to do, go ahead and have GeoGebra up. Please just draw any random polygon you want. So you have the polygon tool here. I'll undo that. Just click it, literally draw anything. It can be a triangle, it can be something simple, it can be something crazy, but we have this shape here. We're going to be doing a translation on this shape, okay? So to perform a translation, you need something called a vector. Now we have this tool down here under our lines called a vector, but let's figure out what is a vector. Let's define it real quick. So a vector, and how we can remember it is, it's basically a ray from our geometry unit. A vector has magnitude, which means size, right, or length, and it also has a direction, okay? So there's a lot of things that we can go in with vectors. Those getting into engineering or going further into mathematics in college, vectors are very important in linear algebra is what it's called. So we have this vector tool, and you click a point, and you guys get to pick which way you want this to go. You have a length, a distance here, and a direction. I'm going to make mine pretty simple. I'm just going to do this right here, okay? There's our vector, and what our goal is for a translation is to take this blue shape and shift it, that distance and direction, like this vector is showing. So we have what's called a transform tool section down here, so please go to that, and we are going to translate by a vector. Go ahead and click that, translate by a vector, and it says select object to translate, then the vector. So we can't do this without a vector. Okay. Now I'm not sure what your IMath 3 or IMath 1 experience was with this, but hopefully this is maybe a refresher and you get to see it in action in an easier format to use. So you're going to click. So let's do this. Select object. So let's select our shape and then click the vector. So let's do that. Click the vector. All right. So it has shifted the shape. Now watch what happens if I use the move tool down here. Click this. If I increase this vector, I'm going to move it. If I go down, around, it's going to continuously move. And how far is that? Well, this distance from C to C prime is congruent to this, okay? It's congruent. If I line them up, they are equal distance, okay? And no matter where I move this, this will always be congruent because that's how far it's going, okay? And if you connected multiple points, it would look like a three-dimensional shape. I'll display that real quick. So check it out. I've connected all these. Now it's looking like a prism, right? As I move it around, it has almost this three-dimensional effect. But all of these lines are actually congruent to this vector that we created. That if I put this vector right over itself, it is the same shape. Might be a pretty cool way to think about translations. I think so. All right, let's move on to rotations. Let's go ahead and click the triple line up here, clear everything, don't save. Once again, go ahead and let's talk about rotations, but we need a shape to rotate. So I'm gonna like draw a star, like a simple version of a star. There it is, okay? Doesn't have to be anything fancy. If I want to trim it up, you can use the move tool to move your points around, but I'm gonna make a star, okay? All right, so what we want to do is rotate this shape. So we go down to our transformation tools and let's look at rotate around a point. So select an object to rotate and a center point, then enter an angle. Okay, so we need a center point for this rotation. If you remember that from your integrated classes, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit here. We're going to click this point tool up at the very, very top, click point, and this is going to be our center of rotation. So let's put that point, minus K, yours probably might have another letter, but let's click that there. And what I want to do is I want to change the name of it just for this part. We don't really have to do this later on when we're doing our tessellations, like our final tessellations, but let's go ahead and use the click tool, click on this point, and click this little icon here, and let's change the label to center. Okay, so if you click it, you click this little the little font thing here, and you can change the name. If I'm going really fast, just rewind. Obviously, you have that luxury to do that. But this is going to be our center point. Okay, so we want a center, or excuse me, we want to rotate this star, or the shape that we created, around the center point. So we go down here, we have rotate around a point. So we're going to click that. We have to select the object, so I'm going to select the star and then the center point. So I click the shape, then the center, and now it's going to ask us for an angle of rotation. Now, for our rotations, and this will be kind of annoying because it's not defaulted to it, but I want to do all of ours clockwise today. So we think about it clockwise. I think in the video, yeah, this is is that right? Yeah, clockwise. I think that's showing correctly on the screen. Yeah, okay. It's not inverted. This would be counterclockwise. We want to go clockwise. That's what we want for all of this, okay? We also want to go 90 degrees, okay? So sorry, it's not going to automatically default 90 degrees. If you want to make this easier, you could hit Control C to copy and then paste it in, but there's not really a fast way to do it. We're just going to take our time. So 90 degree rotation. So there it is. We have, and if we use the move tool and we can zoom out, we've rotated this shape 90 degrees, okay? Do it again, okay? Click rotate, click the new star, click that, and then do it again. We want to change this to, I pasted in my 90 degrees, and then I want clockwise. Okay, so it did that. We're going to do it a fourth time because we're thinking about a rotation. A circle is 360 degrees. So let's go ahead and rotate this once more. Click here, click the center, do another 90 degrees clockwise. Seems, that doesn't seem right. 1 second. Did I mess something up here? Hold on. Let's try this once more. Here. Maybe I'm getting out of my 90, maybe, hold on, let's see. 90 degrees. Maybe I forgot to click clockwise on something. Go back, 90, clockwise. That seems more reasonable there. Okay, got it. Rotate here, 90. Okay, sorry for the delay there. Okay, all of these are rotated 90 degrees, making up a full circle. Well, how can we see this? Well, let's do this. Grab the circle tool. See over here, you have the circles. Click circle with center. Click the center point. and go to point D. And what you'll notice is it goes all the way around the circle, 90 degrees all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and connect another one. I'll do C, E, and I'm gonna connect all of them. You don't have to do this, but it does show how every point, you're taking the point and rotating it 90 degrees around a circle. So I'm gonna do all of these. So look at this. It kind of looks like a solar system, doesn't it? Really cool. If we start moving points, look what happens. This all starts shifting and moving, but it's always, because it's constructed that way, going to be 90 degrees. Every single point is 90 degrees. If I click the whole object and move it, look at this. Really sick. That's why GeoGebra is just the best. I'm sorry. And this is why math is the best. Look at that. So cool. You move these around. You can make the shape however you want. It doesn't matter. These are always going to be 90 degrees. That. Really cool. There's so much cool stuff that you can do with this. So hopefully you feel inspired a little bit already. But we haven't even got to the good stuff yet. Okay, here it comes. Okay, we're gonna, now that we understand in GeoGebra, hopefully you understand how to do tessellation or translations and rotations. These are the building blocks for what we need for our tessellation project. Okay, so now we're really getting into what you need to know for your tessellation project. Okay, so let's get a blank slate again. Clear all. Don't save. Okay, so you may have to refer to this video a few times during the project just to sort of remind yourself the process here. If you want to take some notes, that would not be a bad idea to do that. But what we need to do to start is we need to, all of this is based around regular polygons and particularly a square. Okay, so what we need is I need everybody to scroll down to the polygons section down here, and you're going to see this one called regular polygon. Okay, I think we've used this before when we defined a circle and when we talked about it, but go ahead and click regular polygon and go ahead and make a line. So from A, and we'll go to B here. Okay, and hit OK. And we have this perfect square. All right. Now we're going to keep this simple to start, but we're just going to keep this simple. We're going to create 3 more points, and we're going to do that over this right and left, this right side of this line. So we're going to put the first point on the line. We're going to put another point here and another point here. Okay, so if you're following along, I have my perfect, this is a square, regular quadrilateral square, ABCD, and then I put point E on the line, F and G. Now here's where a lot of what we just did comes into play. Okay, we need to use our rotation tool to help us out. So this process is a little bit tedious, but that's how art is, at least in my mind. Sometimes art, you have to be patient and go through the steps of making it look great, right? So we need to rotate these points, E, F, and G, 90 degrees around this point C here. So we're going to take E, F, and G separately and rotate it around the point C. So we're going to click our rotate tool. We're going to click E, and we're going to click C next because that's going to be our center of rotation in this one. We want 90 degrees, always clockwise. So if you don't consistently remember to click clockwise on this, it's going to mess up. Okay, so clockwise, 90 degrees, hit OK, and you'll notice it's going to take that point just like we had done. Don't draw the circle, but it is a 90-degree rotation clockwise going that direction around it. Okay, we don't need that circle though. We're going to repeat this process for the other 2 points. So we're going to do rotate around a point, F, C, 90 degrees clockwise. Okay, and you'll notice that that has moved up here. It's a 90-degree rotation. Let's do it again for G, 90 degrees. And okay, good. All right, we have to repeat this again 2 more times. But here's what we got to do. We have to now take these new points. You'll see these say prime on them, right? We're going to take all these new points that were rotations of these. We're going to rotate them around point D, the same exact angle, okay? Same exact angle. So we hit rotate. I'm going to do E around D, 90 degrees, clockwise, okay. Repeat it again, okay. F prime, D, 90 degrees, clockwise, okay. One more time on this side, G prime. Somebody is ruining my video. Hold on. So, sorry, G prime, D, 90 degrees, clockwise. Okay. Then we need to repeat it one more time. All right, so we have to do that one more time with these points, and it has to go around A. Okay, so we're going to repeat this process one more time. We take E double prime around A. We want 90 degrees. Clockwise, okay. We go F around A, 90 degrees. There we go. And then we do it one more time. G double prime around A, 90 degrees. All right. Now we have all of these points rotated 3 times around the shape, and you see there's just dots everywhere, right? There's dots everywhere. So we're ready for the next phase. Now that we've done this rotation, delete H, we don't need that. Here's the next thing we need to do. We need to hide this actual original square, okay? So here's how we do that. See how it says show hide object under the edit tool? So we click show hide object. We're gonna click the square, and then you're gonna hit enter, okay? Now we have all these points floating in space here, okay? And this is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna start building a new polygon, okay? And we're going to go to the polygon tool right here. And we're gonna start over here at B, and we're gonna follow the pattern B, E, F, G, C. Yeah, well, actually, we're just gonna connect points however we want. This is just a game of connect the dots. So B to E, polygon. We'll go B to E, F, G, C, G, F, E, D, E, F, G, A, G, F, E, B. All right, we have this interesting shape that's created. The more points that you rotate, the more intricate your shape will be. But as soon as I start moving, if we use the move tool, if I move E, it's gonna move the other E's because it's a rotation, right? If I move F, it moves it around there, okay? If I move G, it's gonna move it around, okay? So we have this interesting shape created. If I move the original shape, B and A lines, it's gonna move it around, okay? We can see how our shape's looking, okay? So now what we want to do is we want to tessellate the shape. We're gonna start our tessellation. So we saw rotational of points coming into play here to create this intricate looking shape. Now we're going to do some more rotations, okay? What we need to do to actually tessellate this shape, all right? So we are going to do another rotation. We're gonna click rotate around a point. So click that. You're gonna select the object. Well, now we want the entire shape, and we're gonna rotate it around the point C here. So I'm gonna click the shape, click C, and we want, again, a 90-degree rotation that is clockwise, and hit OK. And look at that. Like a puzzle piece, it fits perfectly inside of this shape. Okay, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna rotate this shape 90 degrees. So we click rotate around a point, click the actual shape, and then click your center rotation, which is C in this case, 90 degrees clockwise. Okay, you'll see it's fitting perfectly every time. We do it again, rotate around a point, this shape around C, 90 degrees clockwise. Look at that. We have created this tessellating shape. Okay. And also, what's really cool is you can modify this still. If we click these points here, change the way this looks, right? It makes some really interesting patterns and shapes, okay? And that's what's so cool about this. And this is where the art is now starting to come into play. We can modify our shapes after we've started the tessellation process. So art people, you should be thinking, what could I do here with this? So let's talk about how to make this more artistic, I guess. Again, I'm not an art teacher, but I'm just sort of thinking, what we can change colors. So what I'd like you to do is you can click on the shapes and you have this little paint fill bucket here. Okay, so go ahead and make 3 different colors, and we can change also the opacity is what this is called. We're at 10, but we can make this a thicker coloration here. I'm going to go to about 70. Go up to this one. Let's change it to 70. I'll keep that one blue. This one's 70, and I'll make it red. And then this one here, 70. I'm going to make it orange. Okay. And again, as I move these points, now we're starting to get the art going. So next, how do we continue this pattern? Well, now we're going to get back into the translation aspect of this. So to shift these patterns over, you're going to notice that this green shape and this orange shape, if I can shift this over here, it will fit perfectly. Like this blank space here will fit inside of that orange sort of knob right there, okay? Let's grab a vector, so click vector, and let's go from B all the way to, actually hold on, let's do, yeah, that is what we want. We want to grab the vector, let's go from B all the way to B over here. Okay, so we have this vector cutting through our shape, and we're gonna click the translate by vector here. We're gonna click the green, I'm gonna click my green shape, and then I'm gonna click the vector itself, and you're gonna notice it's gonna shift the green one all the way over, okay? Then we can click the blue and do the same thing. Then we can click the orange and do the same thing. Then we can click the red and do the same thing. We can click the green and do the same thing. And it's this pattern of repeated transformation going in this direction. Okay, that one was far, let's do the blue one again. We are tessellating now, aren't we? So orange, click it. There we go. This is tessellation active, and we can still move the points around. I'm sorry, I'm just having too much fun. Hopefully you are. Hopefully your mind is inspired. Okay, so let's go the other direction. Let's go up, right? We've got this horizontal change, right? But now we can change this, and we need to go the upward direction. So I'm going to grab a vector again, make another vector. Let's go from D to well, where does this need to go? D to B prime here. I think that'll work. Let's check. Yeah. So from D all the way to this B point here. You're going to notice if you just keep clicking and moving them around, we're now getting more tessellation. If you start zooming out, it's looking like a ton of points here. We'll talk about hiding the points in a moment, but we can keep translating these. Blue, translate blue here. Uh-oh. Okay, translate, I want this one. My computer's starting to lag a little bit, so hopefully that doesn't necessarily happen to y'all. But yeah, we're starting to see this tessellation. Translate orange, that, red, here. Up there. Red. This. Okay. We keep going. Sometimes you gotta be careful with the clicking here. There we go. So we've got a nice tessellation pattern, and I would say a 4 by this is 4x6. That's really all I'm going to require of you all. 4x6 tessellation pattern. By the way, we can move this around by clicking here. I don't know what that's doing there. But again, this original tessellation piece here is what you start with. Now from here, we can really get into the artwork, okay? We can really get into the artwork of it. If you want to take this to paint, you can. Let's talk about these points here. It looks like the process for getting rid of points is not super easy. What you would do is you go to if we're over here in the tool section, you click this little algebra button. It's what this is. To hide a point, you just check this box. I've been looking for a quick way to do this, but nothing online is really saying anything about how to do it. So I'm not going to make it mandatory that you hide your points, even though they're kind of in the way, if you will. I'm not going to make it mandatory that you hide the points, just only if you want to, okay? So, you know, once you get your overall shape and pattern, I'll be fine with that. Now, beyond this, what you can do, we can do a little more artwork within these if you want to print it out and color within it, or leave this blank, however you want to do it. I want to show you an example of, like, well, we saw these examples up here of how you can draw different colored birds in there. So you can see all the different points. Like, you can imagine these are your points to your shape. So if you want to make an animal shape, you can. Yeah, there's a bird. Here's an example, right? It's something with teeth. Some cats. You can put that on there as well. This one you would want to have that in the tessellation just to make it easier. But you can edit these however you want. Look at these dogs, pretty cool. So you can look on Google and get inspired, but I really would like to see also some artwork in there. So if you don't want to color these, and just, let's say you just want to leave them with no color. Oh, by the way, you can also put any custom color you want. You can do lime, cyan, but if you want to just do white and show the outlines of the shape, then you can definitely do that, which I turned off all the segments on mine. Let's look at this one here. If I want to make that one blank, you could color in right there. Okay, so a lot of options for you here when you're doing this. But I'm gonna stop the video there. I'll send out a rubric. There will be a rubric for this lesson and for this project. But hopefully you got inspired by this video and can come up with something pretty cool. I'm excited to see what you come up with.